Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about game changers. These are things that have literally changed the game for me in the beauty world, whether it is makeup related, skincare related, anything like that. A product that is a game changer for me. A few of these you guys have heard me rave about, but I am including them in here. And then there's two products in this list that are pretty new to me, especially when you compare it to the other products in this list that I've been using for a long time. However, it's still a game changer. They have impressed me and have made things for my skin, makeup, whatever, just so much better. I'm going to start off with two products for the under eye area. The first one is something you guys have heard me rave about over and over again. This is always in my empties. I am always repurchasing this, and it's the BECCA Under Eye Anti-Fatigue Primer. I get asked all the time, I have so many issues with concealer, no matter what I use, no matter what moisturizer I use, eye cream, whatever. I cannot get my under eyes to look well, even with different powders. This is the trick right here, you guys. I'm telling you, this makes such a difference for the under eye that you would have to see it to believe it. And I do have a video, it was a long time ago, showing this product in action. You have to see it. You absolutely have to see it. And I have used this every single day since then. I have had this in my collection ever since then and using it daily, unless I'm trying out a new concealer that isn't vibing with this, or I'm trying to figure out how to make something work and thinking, okay, well, maybe this doesn't work with that product. That's the only time I have put this down. Otherwise, I use this every day. And as you can see, this one is a little bit, I'm almost out of it. It takes a very long time to go through one of these because you need very little. One of the biggest mistakes you can do with this product is use too much, because then it's going to have too much slip. Your concealer will slip around. It's not going to create the effect that you want. You want very little, and you want to kind of dab it in and kind of not rub your eyes. I do wear an eye cream underneath this, but I let that sink in first, and then I will go in with this right underneath, and I kind of will tap and then go back and forth, not in a harsh motion, but I do not want to apply too much. It takes a little while, but after I would say about 5 minutes, you will get this cooling sensation that will help depuff. For me, I don't really have puffiness issues, but I have fine lines underneath my eyes, and I want them to be as smooth as humanly possible. And this is a game changer. I cannot wear a concealer without this. I just absolutely love it, and I highly recommend it to everybody. Play with it a little bit. If you're not getting the results that you want, make sure that you are really letting your skincare sink in before you go in with this. Make sure you're not using too much. I'm going to show you what I would consider to be too much. Right now I'm having to use my nail to get the product out. This amount right here, this is too much. This is too much for the under eye. That right there, too much. It's going to create too much of a slip. So if you feel too much of a slip, you know you've used too much. And really you can go in with, let me see, I've done this there it is. I've done this a few times and I've needed to pat it off. So I'll just take my sponge. This one's from Linda Hallberg. I'll just go right underneath my eye and it'll pick up the excess and I'm fine. I let that set underneath my eyes for, about 5 minutes, usually while I'm doing my eyes or, doing the rest of my face. I do my concealer after my foundation, obviously. So it has time to really set up, and I'm telling you, it makes my under eyes look so much smoother than what they actually are without that product, and I love it. The next product is something I have never spoken about on my channel before, and it's brand new from Charlotte Tilbury. I got a comment asking if I had used this, and I was like, oh no, I don't usually have dark under eye problems, blah, 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 so I haven't tried it. I think I jinxed myself with that. I don't know what I did, but I have recently been getting dark circles, not circles, but darkness right here, and concealer just isn't covering it. I'm not somebody who usually has darkness issues at all. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, if I'm not getting it. I know I'm not getting enough sleep. I know for a fact I'm not getting enough sleep. And I've really been battling that, especially with my pictures. I'll take a picture and I'll just notice how dark this area is, and I have to go in and color correct this area because it bothers me that much. It looks just so dark in that area, and it started bothering me. So I thought about that comment and I went to Sephora. I think I was with Kelsey. I don't remember. I know that I saw this and I touched it. It's the texture of it that really sold me on it. So it's from Charlotte Tilbury and it's called, what is this called? It's so small. Oh my goodness. I don't really see the name on here. All I see is the shade. So let me look up the actual name for this. It is called the Magic Vanish Color Corrector, and there's 4 different shades. I have the second shade, so it is the medium one, number 2. This is what it looks like. So it has that peachy salmon type of color to it. I take this brush right here from Bobbi Brown. This is the Full Coverage Touch Up. It's like a finger brush. I swear, this is like a little finger in a brush because I can't get in this area very well with my nails. This brush, and I take it and I tap over this area right here before I go in with my concealer. I will admit that this does go better on top of bare skin rather than on top of this right here. So what I have to do is take that little sponge and get off the little bit of excess that's right on that inner corner before I go in with this. It has helped me so much. The texture of it is really nice. It's creamy, but it's not too creamy to where it's going to end up creasing a lot before you go in with your concealer. I do have to make sure that I tap it out really well before I go in with my concealer, but it doesn't make my concealer crease throughout the day. I don't find any issues with anything separating or anything like that. And the color is absolutely perfect. So it's not too dark to where it's going to show through my concealer, and it's also not too light to where it's not going to cover up the dark area. It is an absolute perfection of color and texture. I think she did a wonderful job with this. And like I said, there's 4 different colors. If you're looking for something that's really going to hide some dark areas underneath the eyes, this is a game changer. I have several products from where I used to do freelance makeup and stuff like that, and I tried several different things and none of them were working for me in the way that I really wanted them to. Some of them looked too dry in that area. Some of them would mess with my concealer. Some of them, the color just wasn't right. And this just is perfection. I am so happy that I randomly touched this inside of Sephora and I ordered it. It wasn't in store, so that's the reason why I ordered it. They didn't have this color in stock. But this has been a game changer for me, and I haven't been listing it down below because I didn't want to give it away for this video, but I have been using this consistently. Highly suggested. I want to stick with the kind of priming category where these are the products that you're putting on before you put on your makeup. I have 2 more and then we can go on to something else. This is something you guys have seen me rave about, and this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. I have not used another primer that is as good as this one. Not the P. Louise base. I do like that base, but not as much as this one. Not the MAC Paint Pots. Nothing compares to this in my personal opinion. Even if my eye is dry and flaky, as you probably saw if you watched yesterday's video, I had flakiness on my eyes from being sick, and then I went and exfoliated. But anywho, this even on top of that works. This works for dry eyes, this works for oily eyes, this works for everybody, and I'm in love with it. The reason why I like it so much is a couple reasons. First, I don't like to do 2 different steps when it comes to the eye priming and cleaning up underneath the brow. This product allows me to go right up underneath the brow and clean up before I go in and take it on the rest of my lid. It helps to cover up the veining I have on my lid, and it also brightens up the whole area. And shadows are going to go on, look brighter, more even. And what I love about it the most is that I do not have to set it. I can't tell you how many Blanc types I have gone through because I would have to set from my brow all the way down to my lid with every single primer, with my Tarte concealer, with my MAC Paint Pot, with the P. Louise primer, all these different things that I have tried for the eyes as primers, I have had to set all over. And the thing that I don't like about that is, yes, it's really going to help make your mattes easier to blend out, but I feel like it really does a disservice when it comes to your metallic shades. I'm somebody who does not like to use my metallics wet on my lid because it can make it look a little crepey. So I prefer to use metallics on the lid dry. This allows that. It's just tacky enough to where it's going to grab onto the metallics, hold them into place, and make them the color that they really need to be. And it's not too tacky to where I can't blend out my eyeshadow, like the matte shades. I do set right underneath my brow in this area right here. And then if I do my makeup first, my foundation and powder and everything, this area gets set. But mainly what I set is right underneath my brow and this area right here. Everything else stays unset. And this is just absolute utter perfection. It is the primer that I would suggest to everybody. And there are times where this has gone on and it's looked a little funky. You know, like it looks like it's almost dry looking, but then you put your shadows on top and it's smooth. I don't get it. I don't know how they have accomplished this, but there's nothing I would change about it other than I would love to see this come in more shades. Whereas even on deeper skin tones, this is going to make those bright colors really pop, or shades that aren't popping on your skin tone. It will help that. I do think that having more shades in this would be very beneficial, especially to those who don't want it to be brighter. They want it to match their skin tone a little bit more. I would love to see this in more shades. That's my only complaint, but it has been such a game changer for me. I have several tubes of backups of that because that is my go-to. It has changed everything. It changed how I apply my eyeshadows, and it has changed the game for my metallics. It's just absolutely amazing. All right, the next thing is something I have been using. Oh shoot, I want to say I get this mixed up. I started using this in my MAC days, which was, when did I start MAC? Was I 26? 26 or 27. Let's just say I started using it at 27. That is 6 years now. So around that mark, I always get confused with how long I've been using this because I've literally been using it for so long. It is a part of my everyday makeup routine. And the reason why I want to bring this up is, you know, this isn't really a game changer for me now because it's something that I'm so used to using. But I know that if I don't use this product, that my pores are not going to look good. It doesn't matter what smoothing primer I use, it's not going to look as good. This is something that I have repurchased and repurchased and repurchased and repurchased. And if you are someone who is struggling with the pore area and you're using any type of smoothing primer, I definitely have my favorites. Everybody else has their favorites. You have something, you have your go-to. Try this underneath it. This is the Max Skin Refine Zone. You need one dot on each side of your pores. You can put on your chin if you have oily areas there, and you press it in and kind of swipe, and you will feel your pores almost kind of like shrinking up. It's amazing. It claims to be an exfoliant too, like it cleans out your pores. I've read that it doesn't actually have enough of whatever ingredient for it to do that, but I can say that my pores do stay cleared out. Even when I went to the dermatologist or my esthetician, whoever it is that did my peel, she said my pores are very, very cleared, and I was very grateful for that. If you're also somebody who has trouble with your makeup not staying on your nose, this is an amazing product. You just don't want to use too much. This lasts a long time. I know it looks like a teeny tiny tube, but you don't want to use too much of it. This helps to keep away the oil. It will help to hold on your makeup, and it also helps to hold on to that smoothing primer. If I don't have this on underneath my primer, not only will I get more oily, I also will lose that smooth look because this just does something with gripping onto that smoothing primer. No matter which one you use, that stuff is amazing. All right, the next thing is something that I don't have in front of me, but I'm not going to drag it out here, and it is from Dyson. If you guys remember me talking about my dry skin tips, I said that I was going to buy a humidifier? Well, I did. I showed a specific one that I was looking at. I believe it was Levoit or something like that. And I was looking at that one. I was looking at several different ones. I've used humidifiers in the past, but I didn't know which one I wanted to get. And somebody in the comments section said, get a Dyson. That is what you need. You will not regret it. It is a pricey item, but you are not going to regret it. Whoever you are, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I am somebody who suffers with combination skin, and I get very dry on certain parts of my face during the winter or the colder months. And also, I had started getting nosebleeds. I don't know, I don't think I told you guys that specifically because I was talking about just dry skin, but my nose starts to bleed during the winter as well. So I was looking at humidifiers. This humidifier is so worth the money in my opinion, and is such a game changer in respect to any of the other humidifiers I have ever used. This one, I'm going to show a picture of it. It's the Dyson humidifier, and it's the bladeless fan. So you can use it as a humidifier or as a fan, just regular fan during the summer. I have a feeling I'm going to be using it as a humidifier in the summer as well. So what I love about this are a couple things. I love the design, just it's aesthetically pleasing to look at. It is absolutely beautiful. The other things, which are a little bit more on the technical side, I'm gonna read this from my picture because I don't wanna say the wrong thing, but it has a way of cleaning the water so that the water that it is spraying out into the air is clean. And hold on, let me get the exact. It says it has intelligent humidification using ultraviolet cleanse technology. It kills 99.9% of bacteria in the water tank. That is huge because a lot of humidifiers, you're going to want to use distilled water because you can get something called like a white I don't remember, white dust from using humidifiers and then using your tap water. With this, you can use your tap water. If you are going through, let's just say, I use distilled water for my mister, my what is it, Dennis Gross facial steamer. That's what I was trying to say. And while I don't, that tank on that thing is teeny tiny, so it takes me a while to go through one of those distilled gallons. But with a humidifier, you're going to be buying so many gallons per week that it can add up really quickly. So having something like this that kills the bacteria before it ever even goes into the air is amazing. And then they have a whole cleansing system. I have the video for how to clean it saved on my phone so that I know how to do it whenever I go to do that. And the next thing that I love is how it humidifies. So most humidifiers are going to spray either upward. Some of them have like little dials where you can kind of spray around, and it just pushes the air out. Some of them I've had issues with water kind of collecting on the bottom or the area right around the humidifier being moist, which you don't want, especially if you have electronics around or anything like that. This one, because of the bladeless technology, it pushes out the mist. So you're getting a mist that is pushed out and is evenly dispersed through the room. I wouldn't say, you know, like 100% evenly, but much more evenly than what a traditional humidifier does. I am so in love, and I can tell the difference, especially with being sick. When I'm out here and I'm, breathing the dry air, it doesn't feel good. It feels very itchy, scratchy. Whereas if you're in a room and you have a humidifier running, especially if you're sick, it just feels so much more soothing on your throat. And this thing is amazing. It's such a game changer. I did see this for a much lower price on Amazon, but I want to just warn you guys, I would suggest buying this from a Dyson retailer or from Dyson themselves, because one of the reviews, I almost bought this off of Amazon and I'm so glad I didn't. One of the reviews said that they had an issue with it, and that's common. That's not something that I've never had happen before. I've had this camera, actually, the very first one I got, there was a little something wrong with it. I couldn't figure it out, and Best Buy, where I got it, just switched it out for me. So when I read this review, it said, something silly was wrong with it, and they kept updating and they could not get a replacement because I believe the reason was they didn't buy it through a Dyson retailer or Dyson themselves. So that scared me. I was like, I'm not going to, take the chance, spend less on it and get it on Amazon. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just giving you that little bit of information so that you can make an informed decision. I decided to get mine off of Best Buy, and then I bought the 2-year protection plan because I don't want anything to happen to this and then something go wrong, but there is a 2-year warranty on it. But anywho, this thing, game changer. I absolutely love it. And to whoever it was that mentioned this, thank you so, 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 so much. I honestly did not think that there was going to be a day that I was going to say this, but today is the day. If you watch my channel, you know that I have an absolute obsession with La Mer's original powder. And this isn't one of my game changers, so don't freak out and be like, Mel, that's not available anymore. I know. I do still love this powder, but there is something that has made me put it down. And I'm just going to show you really quickly how obsessed with this powder I am. Okay, my mirror right here. This is always what I look at instead of looking at my viewfinder. There is a La Mer powder right there. And my mic is sitting on top of 2 La Mer powders. Let me show you right here. So the love is real. People have asked me over and over again, Mel, what are you going to do when the La Mer powder, you no longer have any? And I do. I have 4 more, I think, at this point. But I really didn't know. I figured I'm just going to end up buying the Sicily powder. I love that powder. It's the closest thing to the La Mer powder, if you ask me. It's the Sicily 01 Irisy. I don't know about the other shades, but that shade in particular is what I would compare to the La Mer original powder. But this has made me put down my La Mer powder, and I didn't even realize I was doing it until I kept, I do my description box, and I have a lot of links just saved. I do a copy and paste, and I delete everything that I need to or add what I need to. And I noticed I haven't been using my La Mer powder. I haven't been using my original. I haven't been using it like when I'm not filming, and I haven't been using my new one either, the new updated version. And it's because of this powder. This is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Tinted powder. I have the original Hyaluronic Hydra powder, which I love, but for whatever reason, it would darken up my under eye whenever I would set it. If I had no other powders, I would be fine if I only had this one because it literally will do everything. I can buff with this powder. I can brighten up underneath my eyes. I can set my under eyes with this powder. I can set my face, everything. Today, this is all that I have on. I set underneath my eyes with Rosy Light, this one right here, which is a really light to pinky shade right here. This really helps to brighten up this area, and it smooths everything out. It's very hydrating. It's very finely milled. It doesn't mess with my pores. It blurs everything and keeps it smooth without drying anything out. And then this one right here is number 200. That is what I use to set my face, and it is also what I used to buff over top of everything. And I took the sifter out of this one because I'm almost out of it, but I have 2 backups. It's totally cool. I really never thought that I would be okay without my La Mer original powder. But now I feel like, okay, I can breathe. So, I'm so dramatic, but this is a game changer. This has made me change the way I look at my skin and how I want it to look when it comes to powders and everything. I love it so much. It's so non-drying. It's so finely milled. It is brightening without it being glittery. So it has a sheen to it, but it's not glittery at all. And you see this up here? I don't have any highlight on my forehead. It's just this powder. I live for it. I live for it. And I'm so excited that I have finally gotten something that has changed my powder game, and that is it. They have several different shades. They have the translucent if you want just translucent all over, but I would say be careful with that one on the under eyes. I don't know what the difference is, but the translucent one will darken up my concealer, whereas the tinted versions do not. I don't know why, but there's that. All right, moving on, I have two more products and both of them are eyeshadows. The first one I think you guys are going to expect, but I don't know if you're going to expect the second one. A huge game changer, I think, in the makeup world and of itself when it comes to eyeshadows is Pat McGrath. She changed the game. I remember when she came out with her first palettes and everybody was like $125. You know, Natasha Denona had already done it, but nobody had seen Pat McGrath do it, and they were just like, what the heck? $125. I think there's 10 shades in here. No, people were just not having it. And it was so interesting to see it go from absolutely not to now. As soon as she drops a palette, it's sold out like that. And there's a reason for it because her shades are so unique. Her mattes are absolute perfection. They are so creamy and pigmented and blendable. And then her special shades are just something that is just different. You can't get this formula in anything else, with the exception of the Linda Hallberg Metallic Mysteries palette. There is the Linda Hallberg Cosmetics Metallic Mysteries palette. There is one shade in there that reminds me of this shade down, like these shades down here, not in this particular palette. This is my favorite, the Mothership 5. Let me just swatch these right here for you real quick. This one has a slight green and gold. Oh, this one's obviously more green. You can see there's just something so different about them. I recently did a tutorial with these. Oh, I can't. She is bar none, the best of the best of the best. And I feel like everybody is trying to play catch up with Pat McGrath and trying to do these new formulas. You know, they're playing with sparkles a lot more. They're playing with glitter and all these things. But I have yet to really come across anything that lives up to the Pat McGrath special shades. They are a game changer, and her matte formula, the same, is a game changer. I know some people are intimidated by the mattes. They have difficulties with them because it is a different type of formula. Personally, I am obsessed. I am absolutely obsessed. And I did do a video talking about how I get these to work for me. It's not that you need an expensive brush or this or that. It's just that you have to have a certain type of brush. I got some comments in that video that I personally didn't agree with. It's like, oh, you know, you shouldn't have to baby an eyeshadow. I understand what you're saying, but to me, and this is not, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything like that. It's just like saying, oh, I'm going to put a metallic shadow on my lid with a fluffy brush and expect it to work. That's not how it works. You know, there's different types of brushes that work for different formulas. It goes for any brand of brushes, everything. They make different types of brushes for different types of formulas. So you have to just keep that in mind. And when you're using a Pat McGrath shadow, all I was trying to say is basically don't use anything that's too flimsy. You want to use something that's a little bit more dense because that is what this formula requires. They don't have to be babied. They just have to have the right type of brush. And I showed the difference between one side and the other with the different applications and, you know, why you might be getting a certain type of result out of them. And going into her metallics, I think that those are beautiful, but really the standout thing for me are her mattes and her special shades. And that goes for all of her palettes. I have only ever returned one palette from her, and it's only because it was the kit. It had the little mini eyeshadow palette in there. The quality was beautiful, but I felt like I already had the shades in my other palettes. And then it had a mascara. I already had the mascara, and it had a pigment. I really liked the pigment, but I returned that because I didn't really feel like I needed it, but the quality was good. The very last game changer, Sydney Grace eyeshadows. I have been using Sydney Grace since they were Feather River Body, And I remember my first time was when I had my partial knee replacement, not my full replacement that I have now. I think it is so weird that I can remember things by surgeries. Oh, I remember that because I had my shoulder surgery. Oh, I remember that because of my gallbladder. You know, it's weird to me that that's how I remember things. But I have so many. Most of these have been sent to me, and then some of these I have purchased myself, and I have it in this huge palette right here. People ask me where I got this from. This is the JD Glow. What is it called? I have it upside down. Let me do this again. It's the JD Glow Colossal Pro palette. It is huge, and I have to have something this large because let me show you how many Sydney Grace eyeshadows I have. Here we go, you guys. They are beautiful, and they rival a lot of the high-end brands. I'm about to blow you guys' mind right now. But in case you guys are wondering what I have on my eyes right now, it's these 4 shades right here. Serendipity, Laughter, Trust, and Keep Smiling. I have Laughter all over the lid and then into the crease. I basically smoked that out all over. And then I took Trust and I darkened out and smoked out the outer corner, went into the crease a little bit right around there. Then I went in with Keep Smiling, deepened it up a little bit further. And then Serendipity I have on the inner corner and the brow arch, just in case anybody is wondering. So why do I say these are a game changer? These shadows are inexpensive, but some of the best quality shadows you can possibly get. The mattes are so beautiful. I'm going to give you an example. The Natasha Denona Biba, whatever palette. If I had that palette, which I love, and I love Natasha Denona, I do think that she is a little back and forth with her formula. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're great, and sometimes they are not great. If I had the Natasha Denona Biba palette, but I had that as an option to have the same exact colors in the Sydney Grace formula of mattes, I would pick Sydney Grace. I know. I've kind of been like back and forth on whether or not to say it. I've always mentioned Sydney Grace and being on par or above a lot of these higher end brands. And I'm sorry, I've got to say it. Sydney Grace kills it. The only reason I don't reach for these as much as I feel like I should is because I want more palettes. I used to use singles more often, and what I tend to do is pick out, like I did today. So I picked out 4 and I put it in a single little palette. I use Tarte. I love their single palettes. And then I will do my look. But I have to think about this huge palette. So I would love to see Sydney Grace come out with some more palettes. That to me would just be perfection, because then I could have it up here. I've made a palette once or twice with these and it would be my go-to. These just are amazing. I'm going to swatch a few. I'm going to start off with one I've talked about so many times. Queen of Hearts is the best metallic red ever. Where are you at? Where are you at? This is Queen of Hearts, and I'm just gonna swatch it really quickly. Ah! I can't. And let me get a matte shade. I'm gonna pick up one that I used today. This one is Trust, and these are talc free. They do have mica, and I know that's been like a source of a lot of debate recently, but I did talk to Sydney Grace, Heather, I talked to her, and they are sourced ethically, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that. So if you don't like talc, these shadows do not have talc in them. Look at that pigmentation. Let me grab another one. This one's Honeydew, another matte. I just wanted to pick up one that was a little brighter. See this? And they go on the eyes like that. They blend out so beautifully. I'm telling you guys, Sydney Grace, just come out with some more palettes. They do have one, the something Autumn's Rain palette. I think that was the first one they've ever done. This, if you have not checked out Sydney Grace, I'm telling you, it's going to change your entire world. It's going to change your thoughts on shadows in general. I know indie brands in general are really stepping up the game. I love a lot of different indie brand shadows, but Sydney Grace is a game changer in my opinion. I feel like she does such an amazing job. I do want to swatch Red Camellia. That's this one right here. Do you see this? This metallic, get out of here. Get out of here. They're so pretty. And then she also has cream shadows, and I recently talked about her multi-chrome cream shadows. I'm going to insert the video right here. You're not going to get anything in my that I know of anyway that it has this much multi-chrome effect and is this smooth and stays on your eyes. Oh my goodness, I just can't. So that is my last game changer, is Sydney Grace eyeshadows. I do have a coupon code for them for, I think it's 15% off. It's Puffin's Y15. It's not a commission code. I don't make any money off of that. It's just a discount code for you guys, and it's linked down below. I have my codes and I put beside whether or not they are affiliate. They're all the way down at the bottom. So if you're ever looking for anything like that, any kind of code I have is all the way down at the bottom. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed my game changer video. Let me know what are some game changers for you, or if there's anything in this video that you're like, yes, I need to try that out. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. No!